Hey friends, I'm Heather and I want to share some somatic exercises and breathing exercises, which are technically also somatic exercises, but in order to help us stay grounded in this total shit show that we find ourselves in. I am not feeling good about what may or may not happen, and living too far in the future is never okay, but I think there's a healthy amount of vigilance that we should be participating in. And then there's also this amount of stress management that we actually all really need to take part in, so that we don't get burnt out and so that we can really be there for each other and take care of each other. And so this is one way that I hope to do that for my community. I love you. I believe that you are afraid. I think that your fears have base, I understand that these are very uncertain times. And so within that uncertainty, we really need to have some sort of practice, some sort of thing that we can count on, whether that's coming from ourselves and the things that we do for ourselves, or the things that we seek out and do with each other. So just take a second, close your eyes, make sure you're in a comfortable seated position. It's totally fine if you need to sit on a chair or a couch. But I'm just going to have you take a second with your eyes closed. And when you close your eyes, for some of us, we become flooded with all kinds of stuff. A lot of things start to come into our minds. And if that happens for you, it's totally fine to keep your eyes open. Just let your gaze rest on the floor out in front of you. Find something to comfortably stare at for a moment here. And then just let whatever arises, let it come to the surface. So that could be fear, grief, any type of uncomfortable feeling. Maybe there's a feeling of numbness or nothingness. Letting that all be a part of the experience as we do this so that we can really go to those places. So let's just sit here for a moment and notice ourselves. And if there's a really loud voice, if there's something really calling out to you, go ahead and take yourself to that spot. Sometimes it's within us, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's outside of us. It could be near us, or it could be even far away. But wherever it is, wherever you're holding, just go to that spot for a moment here. And I like to imagine myself like on a park bench, just sitting next to whatever uncomfortable thing or a past version of myself, and just being a listener, a witness to it. You validate your own experience. If this is something that's living in you, you might notice the boundaries around it, the edges, what it butts up against. You might feel it change, grow, shrink. It might be associated with a color or a texture. It may be a memory. And as I said before, it also might just be a feeling of nothingness or darkness or emptiness. It could be more flighty, anxious feeling. So just going into that zone. If this is a part of your body, I want you to go ahead and take your hands there. And if it's not a part of your body, I want you to imagine where it would live if it was in your body. Where do you think it would live? And you don't have to overthink that. Like the first impulse, the first thing that came to your head, even if you think it's silly, go and place your hands there or one hand there, wherever it is. And then we're just going to hold ourselves here for a moment. Take a couple deep breaths. And we're not trying to run away from anything. In fact, we're trying to confront it in a way. gentle confrontation, gentle interruption. Notice what happens when you give your attention to it. Take another breath there. It may have changed or moved, or maybe it's the same, but go ahead and take your hands to another place without thinking, without it needing to be a certain place. The same thing, we're just going to be here with stillness, breathing. You'll be curious about where you placed your hands, what you can feel underneath your hands. And from the point of view of where you're touching, how it feels to be touched. Begin to try to keep track of your breath a bit. Notice how you're breathing. Notice how you're sitting. If you're sitting really tensely, if you can let that go. We're going to do another position change where, again, I want you to take your hands to a place that's talking to you. Or if you tend to be a person that's a little bit more outside of yourself, if this place was in you, where do you think it would be? And just go ahead and put your hands somewhere. If it's too hard to think about it, just do the movement on impulse again. Just place your hands somewhere. And you can sort of install it with your imagination. Now that we're with whatever place, again, noticing the boundaries of it, where it lives and where it extends out to, any color or texture or shape, if it's light or dark or heavy or full. Breathing gently. One more time, we're going to go to probably a more neutral zone, maybe, but just move your hands somewhere on impulse. It's possible that you put your hands somewhere that actually does have something to say, or even that when your hands are here, you actually end up being in a place that has something that you didn't know was needing to be expressed. So just being here with whatever happens, including nothing, breathing. And you're just being aware of how it feels to be witnessed in this way by yourself, really validating your own experience. Letting whatever arises be what it is, without needing to fix or push away or control. And take another breath. And then let your hands rest on your legs or somewhere comfortable. Begin to lean forward and backwards. If your legs are crossed, you might switch the crossing of your legs. But just leaning forward and backward, and as you do, start to become really aware of your sitting bones underneath you. So kind of I'm sitting on a bolster, you might be sitting on the floor or a pillow. If you're on something soft, it's a little harder to feel, but right underneath you, right, you're sitting on your sitting bones. So we're just rocking back and forth. And then, okay, notice how you're rocking. And then I want you to make it bigger, get more of your body in on it. And just let that rocking sort of take over. It doesn't have to be pretty, it might not be. It might be quick or slow or kind of jagged. You might have some nervousness around either leaning forward or backward, or that you're doing it right. Let your head move with you. And just trust your body to move the way that it needs to move. The only thing I would say is notice resistance. Notice how you might want to make this like perfect. Perfection is a form of resistance in a lot of ways. It keeps us from experiencing what's happening now. Okay, just a couple more times, maybe kind of get a little bit more forceful with it. I know there's quite a bit of rage living in me right now, as usual. But, you know, this just tends to bring up so much stuff for some of us. You know, I'm queer, I have a chronic illness, I have children that are in school, I'm a woman, you know, my partner is trans, blah, blah, blah. Like, my mom is from El Salvador. It's a lot of things for a lot of us. And if you are unfamiliar with the term intersectionality, there's just, for a lot of us, there's a lot of confounding factors, a lot of things going into these deep feelings that we're having in our bodies, including anxiety, fear. These are in our bodies, not just in our heads. And we should feel this way because we are on some level in danger. And if we're not necessarily in danger at this moment, we can see how those around us, some of them, may or may not have our safety in mind. And that can be fairly upsetting, especially when they're your loved ones. Okay, so starting to slow down here. And then coming back into stillness for a moment. Place your right hand on your heart and then your left hand over the top of it, and then push into your heart with your hands and gently tuck your chin towards your chest. And take some really deep breaths. So as you inhale, you're going to try to fill the bottom of your lungs, then the middle, then the top. And as you exhale, exhaling from the top of your lungs through the middle to the bottom. Inhaling, filling up the bottom of your lungs, the middle, then the top. And exhaling from your top of your lungs to the middle to the bottom. Do that a couple more times, inhaling, filling from the bottom of your lungs to the top. Try to relax your tummy and don't just fill or think about filling the front of your body, but the sides and your back as well. So you fill up like a balloon in 360, the whole thing. And then as you exhale, exhaling from the top of your lungs to the bottom, and start to try to really push that exhale out, maybe even longer than you think you can. Okay, so we're inhaling deeply, and then exhaling fully past the point where you naturally stop. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling through your nose on the inhale and exhale if you can. Exhaling past the point where you naturally stop. Inhale, filling up. Exhale past the point where you naturally stop. Two more times. One more, fill up completely, 360, front, back, sides of your body. Exhale, go past the point where you naturally stop. Okay, go ahead and let your hands rest on your thighs. Come back to your normal breath. Bring your chin to your chest. And then from here, open your eyes. So really take a look at what you're looking at. Start to notice some shapes, colors, textures. Continue to stay connected with your breath. This is going to be so important for us, the breath, as we move through these times. Start to pick up your gaze. Okay. For our final exercise, this is a somatic therapy exercise to help you feel more connected to your environment, to make you feel more safe. These things aren't like you do them once and then it works. It's like over time you accumulate the sort of residue of these practices and they become more effective. I have high anxiety, but I'm also high functioning. And I find this in particular to be a way that helps me to regulate myself, to bring myself back into stasis. And it works fairly quickly and it's easy to do. And so I encourage you to do it, but it's a little silly to watch. But you start with your head just straight up and down like we are. And then you're gonna use just your eyes. So you're gonna take your eyes and look all the way over to the right and then all the way up into that right-hand corner of your eyes, which is kind of weird. See what you can see up there? And then you're gonna actually see what you're looking at this whole time. So I'm looking up at the right, and then I'm gonna scan, go across the horizon, and really try to take in and notice and see what I'm looking at. I'm not moving my head, which is really hard. I'm going all the way to the left, and then I'm looking and seeing what it is that I see, and I'm gonna go up into the left-hand corner of my eye. This isn't necessarily about seeing something different than you normally see in the space that you're at. It's more just this trick of the brain that we're using our eyes to scan our environment for cues of safety. So we're looking around and we see this familiar space, maybe depending on where you're at. Now I've done this many times in public spaces when I'm feeling a bit out of control, AKA nervous. And so this really helps. So you're just looking up in the right-hand corner. You're gonna scan across the horizon and really actually try to notice and see details about the space you're in, even if you're outside. And then looking up in the corner. And then once again, scan the environment, look across the horizon, notice what you see actually what you see. Go all the way up into that right-hand corner again. Come back down to center. Now, look over to, well, let's finish up. Go to the left, sorry. Look up to that left-hand corner one last time. And then come back to center and stay. So now you're gonna turn your head with the look. You don't have to look up in the corner again, but you're gonna turn, keeping your body straight forward and look all the way over like an owl. I always think this is like an owl. You're gonna look all the way over, owl the way over, with your right shoulder. Sorry, that was terrible. And really, again, you're seeing what you're looking at. You're actually trying to take in the details, even if you've seen the space 1,000 times. You're looking as you come back across the horizon. You're taking in the floor, the ceiling, the walls, the stability of the space. The floor is not going anywhere. Most likely the walls and the ceiling are not going anywhere. That you are safe in the space you're in, most likely. Look all, at least in this moment, if you're taking this video, you look all the way over your left shoulder. Try to look behind you. Again, really noticing what you are looking at. Our brains are awesome and they have these filter modes that we kind of go into on autopilot so that we don't always have to take in the environment because it's actually a lot of information. And we have other things that we're doing, like thinking about the grocery list or whatever it is. So it's not actually beneficial for us to always be in this sort of hyper visual state, but it does help us come to the present moment. So these somatic exercises are also just mindfulness exercises. And I love this to point this out, but you may have already thought of this. Mindfulness is really about being in your body, which I find so ironic. Okay. right shoulder this one last time. We're going to cross the horizon and really see what's in your space without judgment. We're not looking around to see what we need to clean up or put away or whatever it is. We're actually just trying to be present in our space in this moment with each other. And then, yeah, looking all the way over your left shoulder. Taking a second just to actually see what you're looking at. And then coming back to center again, but don't rush it. Really, again, see what you're seeing. And then we'll stop at center. Okay, how do you feel? I was doom scrolling right before I started filming this, and I feel a lot better now. I hope you do too. One somatic exercise is to use, I can't ever remember what it is because I'm a yogi or a yoga person, but it's like VUM or VOM or something like that. But because my lens is more yoga, I like to use Om. And Om is this really beautiful mantra that is like one of the most popular mantra. There's probably always somebody saying Om in the world. Om is, the yogis believe it's the sound the universe made when it was created, and it's the sound that's still ringing out today. Because it's the sound of the universe being created, it is also creation itself. It is everything that is manifested is Om, kind of interchangeable with prana or the vital life force. And it's just this energetic quality, or this like kind of the God particle idea of creation in the form of a vibration, and that is Om. Recently taught a workshop where somebody said, I never know if I'm doing it right or like singing it in the right pitch, but there's no pitch necessarily to sing it in. It's not singing, it's chanting. And so what the important thing is to become absorbed in the Om. And we're not going to do that today. But maybe I'll film an 8-minute Om video for y'all, because that's kind of a fun thing to do, and you really do feel, you become absorbed in it. But for today, I'm just going to have us chant Om 5 times. And again, it's not singing necessarily, but you are making sound in a way that is similar to singing. But I want you to get rid of that thought, because I think maybe that messes people up and maybe causes this idea of tonality needing to be a certain way. I like to think of it more as almost another breathing exercise. So it's this long, extended exhale, which we know from polyvagal theory and the vagus nerve. When we stimulate that vagus nerve with a prolonged exhale, and the breathing diaphragm really gets pulled upwards, we have this like calming effect. To add to the calming effect that we already hopefully kindled for you. So 5 Oms. I'm gonna say inhale, and then the exhale is the Om. You do not have to follow me. My exhales might be too long for you, so you would start the Om for yourself before I get done, and then vice versa. If your exhale is actually longer and you're continuing to Om, don't stop Oming because I started a new Om. Okay, do it on your own time. And let's do a mudra. Why not? So there's a mudra called the no fear mudra, where you take your thumbs in your palms and you cover your fingers over your thumbs, and then you push your knuckles together behind your back. So we've got our mudra. We're feeling fortified a little bit, at least, maybe a little better. A little better is like, kind of significant at this point. So let's do our 5 Oms. Go ahead and take a deep inhale. hands rest on your legs out in front of you. Feel how you feel now. Again, connecting with the sturdiness of your base, feeling the heaviness of your pelvis, your sacrum, your sitting bones, sitting, your feet on the floor, your body in this space. And let your chin come to your chest. Bring your hands together in front of your heart, or you can leave your hands where they are. But take a deep breath here into your heart. And know that I care about you. I'm concerned for you, and I'm here for you. And I love you. Thank you for being here for yourself. Thank you for being here for your family and your friends. Thank you for existing. Thank you. You can go ahead and lift your chin. Start to open your eyes. Okay, I hope you feel better, at least a little bit, and I'm gonna try to make some more of these videos for us as we process this, and maybe even do like a weekly something for y'all. But anyways, I really appreciate you. If you are into this and you want to continue with me, please subscribe to my channel, tell your friends about it. It really does help me so much. Word of mouth is like the only way, right? But anyways, I really do care about you. I love you. Big hugs. We're gonna be okay.